Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. Welcome to Crispy Flakes. For today's video, we got a video by JxmyHighroller titled "When You Break the Rules and Get Away with It." So I'm trying to think about what's the biggest rule that I've ever personally broken while playing basketball. And I have not personally, but I do have a quick story. We will call the person in this story Jimmy. Not JxmyHighroller, but just Jimmy in general, okay? So, Jimmy lived across the street. I was probably 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, maybe. I don't remember exact age. Maybe middle school. I don't know, man. And I had my next door neighbor. So, we went to Jimmy's house to play basketball. And Jimmy kept on traveling every single damn time. So, we would call it, say, traveling. The kid did not know how to dribble, okay? It was like Jaylen Brown up in there. So, after a while, he started yelling at us, traveling, and he took the basketball and he whipped it at my friend's face. He didn't break it, but then after that, he proceeded to chase after my friend's sister. She was probably 2nd grade, so yeah, we had to have been like 6th or 7th grade, and proceeded to try to pick her up and throw her in front of a garbage truck that was coming our way. Let's get going on the video.
No way he's one-on-one this bitch.
Stanley Johnson? Ain't no damn Stanley Johnson. It might be these days. Oh, traveling.
Well, that sucks. Game is all tied up with seconds left on the clock.
What's going on?
And this kid pulls off every hooper's dream of knocking down a game-winning three-pointer at the buzzer.
Yeah, way to take away the moment,
called off by the ref. And most
BS.
Basketball fans who saw this video agreed that this move was in fact a travel. As tragic as this call was, it was the correct one. But
like
if
James
this
Harden,
is a travel,
man,
then so is this, and this, and this,
exactly,
and this, and all of these. NBA players don't have to follow the rules. I mean, they used to, but they don't anymore. Because according to them, they don't have to.
I just don't think that referees beyond the NBA has adapted to these new moves that we see out there. They look at that's a travel. It's that's really not. What that kid did was not a travel.
Today's
based
video
off those
is sponsored
rules.
by DraftKings.
DraftKings. Let's see here. Let's get the man Jimmy's code on the screen. As always, because, okay, there it is. JxmyHighroller, so link to his channel description below if you want to use his code.
Road to a championship, Kawhi Leonard hit one of the greatest shots in NBA history.
The bounce.
It's off to Leonard, defended by Simmons.
Damn.
Is this the dagger?
Yo, Ben Simmons low-key gave up on the play. He should have went and double team, just try to put a hand in the man's face, you know what I'm saying?
A 20-foot fadeaway buzzer beater over Joel Embiid to win Game 7 in the
Hands
second
weren't
round
up,
of the
not
playoffs.
nothing.
This shot has been cemented as a career-defining moment for Kawhi and the catalyst to one of the most legendary title runs in recent NBA history. But it never should have happened. See, run the tape back.
All right, let's see it.
Right about here. One, two, three steps without ever dribbling the ball. Kawhi Leonard traveled on this play. This should have been a turnover with 4 seconds left on the clock.
That first step, though.
How did the refs miss this?
That first step, did he have full-on possession, though? Because aren't you allowed to gather yourself to some extent? That's the only way I can see it.
This is Jason Phillips, 21-year vet as an NBA official. He's reffed over 1,100 games. He's looking right at it. He must have just not seen Kawhi take an extra step, right? Or
Man,
maybe he
that
just
call,
didn't
though,
want to be the guy to call a travel on a mega superstar in a Game 7 of the playoffs. Either way, the call was missed and the Raptors now have a championship banner hanging in their rafters. But this isn't the first, nor the last time a player has gotten away with breaking the rules in a crucial moment. This Stephen Curry dagger in the 2019 playoffs against the Rockets was a carry. You can see it right here. He dribbles, does a hop step while
let's call it like it is, though. Should Nene really be playing defense on Steph Curry in the situation?
carrying the ball, then crosses over. This should have been a turnover. Or what about Devin Booker's game-winning shot in the 2020 playoffs against the Clippers? One of the highlights of his career. Well, that shot came off of a travel. Just look for yourself. 1, 2, 3 steps. Picks up his pivot foot. 4. Go back and look at some of the best displays of footwork and handles over the last half-decade, and you'd be blown away by just how many moves NBA players use on a consistent basis that involve traveling and carrying. It's shocking. At least from a fan's perspective it is, but to the players, this is all part of the game. A few months ago, a fan shared a clip of Ja Morant conjuring up one of the most egregious travel and carry jobs you'll ever see. And this fan did not hold back, saying Ja Morant carries the ball on pretty much every—
You want to know who used to get called a lot for that type of thing, though? Allen Iverson. Like, Iverson could not get away with it. He would obviously have nasty crossovers, but they would call him on those travels for sure.
Possession, and it never gets called. Right below this post, Donovan Mitchell chimed in with 4 simple words: "We all do it." And Mitchell is right.
Fair enough.
Nearly every single perimeter player in the NBA travels or carries a lot. Not in some inconsequential way, not every once in a while. It happens all the time, every game, especially in ISO possessions where you'll see players bend and break the rules virtually every single time.
Yeah, I would really only call the handles under the ball.
Confused with the zero step or gather step that has ran rampant over the last half decade. Popularized by James Harden, if a player times their gather step well enough, they can get away with an extra step on their way to a shot. Like this play right here, where Terry Rozier gathers the ball at the exact moment that he takes his gather step, which allows him to take 2 more steps.
Yeah, I feel like they're lenient on the gather these days.
This also applies to most step back jumpers. Gather, 0 step, 1, 2. We aren't talking about these moves. We're talking about moves like this. Ja Morant dribbles, takes 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps, carries the ball, and then takes a 4th step before dribbling again and finishing at the rim. And you may think, this move right here, this is an outlier, but it's not. Moves like this happen
as long as
virtually
everybody's
every other
doing
possession
it, right?
in the NBA. Take this play by Jordan Poole. He's coming off a dribble. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps, 4 steps before he dribbles again. But wait, he's not done. He burns Jordan Clarkson on the in and out.
All right, low-key, they
takes
need
1 step,
they need to do something
2
about this.
steps, 3 steps, 4 steps. That's 2 violations
Looking like a running
in
back.
the same combo to create space from his defender. This is an epidemic. But if everyone does it, then why should it matter? The game has changed. Clearly the refs don't care, so why should we? Well, take this play by Kemba Walker.
Oh, we hating on Kemba?
Oh, Walker, a little shake and bake, throws it up.
Damn, we had Kemba on the Pistons doing that.
On an island, so he hits him with a quick
We
pullback
win
to
that
create
championship.
space. This is fine. Walker's got separation and an open shot. But no, he takes 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, huge bullshit on
4
this one for
steps
sure.
While carrying
Like,
the
come on,
ball,
Kemba.
forcing Sadiq to close out, and then he blows by him. As a defender, if you see the offense take 2, even 3 steps backwards, you know they have to commit to a shot or a pass. They have nowhere left to go. They've used all of their steps. But when the offense can just suspend the ball indefinitely and just take another step to blow right past you, how exactly are you supposed to defend this? It's the same general concept being used on most of these moves. Whether the player is using a zero
we got
step,
everybody
a
getting
pocket
exposed
dribble,
in the video.
hesitation, most of the time, these moves are breaking some sort of rule. And when the defense sees a player hold the ball like this, they know they can close out strong because they know the offense either has to shoot the ball or pass the ball. Or at least they used to, before moves like this became perfectly legal in the NBA.
Yeah,
and
looking
there
like a
lies
damn
the problem
and one
with players
mixtape.
being allowed to use these moves in games. Back in the late 90s and early 2000s, the league made an example out of Allen Iverson by having officials go out of their way to call carrying violations on him.
Yeah, I
moves
remember
that by
that.
today's standards would be considered fairly simple and textbook were
Look at Chris with that
constantly
knowledge,
being
man.
called as travels and carries. Just look at this call right here.
Yeah, look. You calling Iverson? Maybe a moving screen, but even that. Oh, wait, do that against the Pistons? Yeah, that was a good call.
He does that every time he puts it on.
Yeah, that was a really good call.
You see it? It's so insignificant that it's hard to even notice. But this move right here was called a carry back in 2001. Here's another clip from the late 90s.
that, Bob Sura?
And just listen to how the commentators talk about Allen Iverson's game.
Look at that. Down the lane, put it off. Hendrickson with the rebound, puts that one in. Let's see if you can see this, John. Let's watch Allen Iverson with the ball handling and see if you think this is close to a carry.
Not today's standards.
I mean, look at that.
That's a good quality gather right there in today's standards. Size up.
You can't make that move and not carry the ball. Right?
Again, by today's standards, what
Ja
Iverson
Morant's
is
like,
doing
"Hold my
here
ball."
isn't even worth noting.
Ooh.
In fact, in 2022, this is fundamental basketball. But 25 years ago, this type of ball handling was considered borderline street ball. These guys would have had a stroke if they saw what players today got away with. When you can bend the rules and even outright break the rules to manipulate the defense and score a bucket, the game completely changes. 20 years ago, there were only 8 players in the entire league that averaged over 23 points per game. Every single one of them were all-time great players, and only 5 of them were perimeter players. Fast forward to 2021, and a whopping 22.
You know, I feel like they're doing that though because, you know, defensive players are just a lot better these days. I feel like there's just like a lot more athletic players across the board and everything, a lot more talent. So if they were really strict on those calls, it would really negate the ability to score in the paint. Like it just would. And I just think at that point, it's like the NBA would just be shooting threes. Because it's like, oh, if we're going to get called for carries or it's really hard to get to the basket, it's like just shoot threes the entire time. So that's the only reason I could see it really being the big issue.
Averaged at least 23 points per game league-wide, and 16 of them were perimeter players. Part of this is due to players simply being more skilled than their predecessors. But just as big of a factor is the fact that perimeter players get a lot more leeway with the rules these days than they used to. It's not like Tracy McGrady or Gilbert Arenas or Paul Pierce didn't have the handle to pull off these moves. It's that they simply weren't allowed to do these moves. Listen to how commentators believed this was a travel back in the late 80s.
Darwin Cook on Jordan, no chance. Oh my!
Yeah, that's a little damn travel.
Oh, they're jumping in the stand. Now
There.
watch.
See, his left foot, I thought, moved.
Oh,
No.
I mean, maybe a little, but not.
Imagine
Like,
what
I'm
some
not calling
past
it.
all-time greats could have done if they were allowed to get away with what players today get away with. Here's a clip of Kobe putting on a footwork clinic without bending the rules. The fact that Kobe was so effective and
Can you
so
imagine Kobe playing
creative
street
within
ball?
the confines of strict rules makes it all the more impressive. The same could be said about Tim Hardaway, who patented his killer crossover in the 90s. Dude had defenders absolutely lost from a simple but effective crossover.
Yeah, that crossover
Imagine
is
what
sick.
players like Hardaway, Marbury, Steve Francis, and Chauncey Billups could have done if they were able to take an extra step or two and hold the ball for a split second longer to break down the defense. A lot of these former players are justified in saying that the rules have been loosened so drastically over the last decade that they would have been even more dominant in today's game. So, if
Steve
the
Nash.
players know they break the rules, why don't the officials seem to care, and why does the NBA allow this to go
Let's
on?
hear the reason. Y'all got my
Well,
theory.
For one simple reason.
You got my theory.
It's exciting. Is there anything better than a crossover that sends a player flying 10 feet in the wrong direction? What's more exciting than a well-executed hezzy that makes a defender look absolutely foolish? Looser rules means more action. More action means more points. More points means more superstars. More superstars, the more marketable the product is.
Damn, Jimmy,
Last
I
season,
knew it
the
here,
NBA
man.
clamped down on some rules that, for once,
Yeah,
would favor
that's
the
a good-
defense
those are
and
good
punish
points.
bad
Wow.
offense. One of those rules was to crack down on intentionally baiting foul calls while shooting. And instantaneously, players across the league saw a massive dip in their offensive production. Some fans enjoyed this change, but a lot of players didn't. And so the NBA loosened the rule again and scoring shot
Yeah,
right back
casuals
up.
like the damn
Looser
130
rules makes
point per
good
games.
players look like great players. It
I
makes
missed the post
slightly
up.
marketable talent into extremely marketable talent. See, you or I could never pull off this move without being called for every violation in the rulebook. But we're not in the NBA.
maybe I
And don't
could.
get me wrong, not every highlight move you see in
I'd
the
tear
NBA
something.
is a violation of some rule. Look at this madness from Jordan Poole right here. There's a lot going on, and not once does he travel or carry. Here's some more witchcraft by Kyrie Irving, where he shreds an entire defense and does it completely clean. It can be done. But when it isn't, most fans in the league as a whole are more than willing to turn a blind eye to it. Because what Allen Iverson proved 25 years ago still remains true to this day.
What's that?
And a foul will go on Judd Bushler. Lou Canellis is sitting by. What do you got, Lou?
I wanted to add something on Iverson's move.
Okay.
They have called it a number of times here in the league, and that's why the guy's averaging almost 5 turnovers a game, Tom. But
Right.
also take into account this. That is his signature move, and if he is going to be truly one of the up-and-coming stars that's going to represent the league, they're going to let him get away with it.
Yo,
more
how do you
times
find
than
that type of
not.
audio?
You're exactly right. I think that dribble there is a carry every single time he goes to the basket. But, like I said, it's his signature move, and they're going to let him get away with it.
Yeah, onto something with him, man. That's all we got. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Peace out, my friends.